Every time I purchased something from a business creator, I did so because I perceived that that person gave the most value. But if that's true, aren't our number one goals should be to actually create the most valuable content? Maybe it's not about the title, the thumbnail, the editing. Maybe it's about who can give the most value. Just look at the best of the best of the best in this market. Alex Hormozy, Sam Owens, Charlie Morgan. They made so much money and attracted such a huge audience because they are in this space who gave the most value. But I hear what you are saying. What if you are not Alex Hormozy or Sam Owens? And you are obviously aware that you don't make 100 million online. How do you create value? How do you provide value to the market? And how do you make sure the market actually perceive you as useful? Hey, what's up guys, my name is Ben and I worked with people like Sam Owens, Andrew Kirby, Chase Chappell, and I get so many people reaching out to me saying how valuable they find my content and how much they think the content is so underrated. And by the way, it's not a coincidence, because in this video we will be breaking down how do you turn your expertise into value, why you shouldn't actually teach just what you know, and how do you increase your perceived value so you actually get people to buy from you. And I actually want to give away in this video my full value creation framework, so you don't find this anywhere else on the internet. You see, the YouTube space is actually quite simple. People buy from other people who they perceive are valuable. But there is a very important word there, perceive. People don't just buy from the people that are the most valuable. They buy from the people that they perceive are the most valuable. And the reason you should be giving away so much value is because if someone implements what you just said to them and it will work for them, they will end up purchasing from you because they will credit their success to you. And on top of all this, there is this sneaky little bias called reciprocity bias, which says that when someone gives us something, we feel inclined to give back to that person. That's why if you've been watching creators like Alex Hormozy, Sam Owens, or any of these guys for a long time, you genuinely want to give them money. You genuinely want to somehow give back to them. And you don't even know why, but it's because these people are providing you so much free value for free that you just feel like you want to give back to them. And I have a funny story with this, which is like there was this guy I knew which said that he actually just bought Alex Becker's course and he had nothing to do with YouTube ads or anything that Alex Becker was selling. However, Alex Becker just gave him so much value that he just wanted to give back somehow. So he decided to purchase his course to just support him. Personally, I found two ways to create value online: paradigm shifts and depth of ideas. Paradigm shifts are technically when you believe something that goes against what the market believes and what everyone else believes. When people implement that and it turns out that you've been actually right, that gives you some crazy amount of value. But I want to be clear, it's very hard to come up with a paradigm shift. Because the market is pretty right, you know, there are a lot of smart people already out there and most people are already doing the right thing. There is a chance, so I recommend you to ask yourself continuously the question, what do I believe to be true that others in my market doesn't believe is true? And if you find an answer to that, that is crazy valuable, by the way. However, there is a second way to creating value, and it is about creating depth of ideas. You take an idea and you go deep on it. You explore it from multiple angles. You tell a story around it. You explain similar ideas and similar notes it connects to. And you turn the idea and the notes around it into a framework. And suddenly you created idea depth. And you went so deep on it that you added an extra dimension to your idea. And the audience is simply blown away, because simply no one else gave this much value before. But just before we go further, I just want to talk about a very common misconception in this space, which is that just because you achieved an outcome, you are qualified to teach it. And by the way, that seems pretty logical, by the way, right? But let me say something. Let's imagine you want to become a professional football player, and you go after the best football player, and you ask him, how can I shoot a ball like you? But he will pause and he will be like, I don't know. Because he's professional doesn't mean he can teach it. And for him, shooting a ball perfectly comes second nature. So he doesn't even think about it. He simply just does it. And this is why sometimes it's so hard to teach people when you become an expert. Because so many times you don't even know how you achieve the goal. You simply just did it. So if the football player would want to teach how he shoots a ball, he would have to sit down and analyze himself, analyze his thinking, analyze his method, his mental models, and technically reverse engineer of what he is doing from action to a full-blown framework. And this is why I believe you see so many people give shallow advices online. Not because they haven't achieved the goal or they are shallow people, but because not even they know how they achieved their goal. But the 1% of creators from who you are truly blown away by how much value they create, they don't just think about, oh yeah, let me just talk about X, Y, and Z topic, and they just sit down and talk. Rather, they actually start to analyze and start to reverse engineer all their thinking and all their actions and all their results into frameworks. When Alex Hormozzi sat down to write $100 million offers, he wasn't just like, let me just sit down and just write down how I make offers for people. But he dissected his own thinking. He was thinking, what is the definition of the lead? How I define a lead? How can I define to people a lead? How can I simplify this topic so much that everyone can understand? And it's a simple, teachable framework. And this is exactly what we want to do. We don't just want to teach what we know. We want to sit down and turn our actions and achievements into repeatable frameworks. So let me share you the framework that I developed under the last few years that's been inspired by Charlie Morgan, that will help you turn your ideas in your head into crazy and insanely valuable frameworks. Okay, so here is the full value creation framework. I come up with a video idea and I say I want to make a video about consistency. How did you arrive at this video idea and why does it resonate with you? You know, the inspiration origin. I can here tell a story, let's say, about the fact that one day I noticed I was very inconsistent with content creation. I stumbled upon this thing and I started talking with this one person that was consistent with creation for like 6 years at that point. And I sit down to talk with him and he gave me this advice. And you know, now we have an origin of like why I want to talk about consistency. So narrative creation, can you tell a story that not only brings your idea to life, but also stirs deep emotion and challenges your audience's perspective? This is super important, because let's say with the consistency example, if we can create a story around it that actually makes the viewer feel emotional, and you know, stories make people remember concepts and ideas better. So if you look at any self-help or business book, they are always full of stories. Because if I tell you a story, you will remember that idea much more than if I just say you, be consistent, you know. Third one, idea connection. How can you connect a related concept to further extend this idea? So at this point, we want to find similar ideas that related to our ideas. Let's say it connects to compounding and the slight edge as a book. Paradigm building. How can your idea challenge and potentially transform the existing paradigm of your audience? Is there an opportunity to challenge the status quo? Shifting the viewer's paradigm is one of the most useful way to changing someone's belief system. Because if someone believes something and you tell them that they should believe something else, and then when they believe this thing and it actually works and they get results, that's insanely valuable, and that's probably the most valuable thing there is out there. Multidisciplinary thinking. Can insights from diverse fields or industries be integrated to enrich or expand your idea? For multidisciplinary thinking, we want to think about diverse fields. What I'm trying to say is, like, sometimes we are just very much in our bubble, but you know, we can sometimes look at different fields. Like in my current video, I used football and athletes as an example to bring back, and you know, how football and athletes are sometimes know how to shoot a ball perfectly, but can't teach it. And that's multidisciplinary thinking. So you get one discipline and there is another discipline and you bring that back. Next one, how can you use visual storytelling to add a new layer of depth and engagement to your idea? Show, don't tell. So this is super high level. But what I'm trying to say here is, imagine you develop a framework, but you're even able to visualize that framework and create a nice visual around it. If you guys are familiar with visualize value and you are able to create something like that from your idea, that's super valuable. Where do the uncertainties in your understanding lies, and explore this gap can lead to deeper insights or innovative solutions. So, you know, we are exploring now this idea super deep, but what you will find is sometimes there will be actually parts that is not that clear for you. You don't see the full picture, or there will be something missing. I want you to explore that here, trying to understand the idea more fully, try to map out the full territory. So don't be shy to like explore, like, you know what, I don't fully understand this part of it. And you know, as ChatGPT, start exploring it, maybe learn about it. And once you have a full understanding, then come back to it, which is also super valuable. Unique angle, very nice one. How can you uniquely position your idea so it can stand out from the crowd? Us versus them, naming, experience, visual. This is where all this becomes very interesting, because if you just make a video around consistency, let's be real, no one fucking cares. There are millions of books, millions of ideas around consistency. So you have to find a new angle to talk about this idea. How can you present consistency as this totally new idea? Maybe you do that by saying, you present your situation against the enemy, saying consistency is bad, and you know, most people try to be consistent, but you shouldn't be consistent. Or try to come up with a new name for consistency. We try to make our consistency idea, which is pretty boring, into something new and unique. Practical implementation, this is a good thing too. What steps can the viewer take to implement your idea? And what challenges might arise during this journey? What would be the one action item you would give them? And imagine how valuable is it that at the end, you also explain to them how to implement your idea, and you give them a step-by-step instruction or how to implement it, and you turn it into technically a full-blown action item. And lastly, irresistible invitation, aka the CTA. So, you know, we kind of outlined the main topics we want to talk about, but it's like, you know, maybe we want to get people into lead magnets. Maybe we want to get people into our community. Maybe we want to get people on our email page, or maybe we want them to watch a new video. So we want to have like an irresistible invitation to technically a CTA, not just watch this video, but generally giving like, there is one more thing remaining to fully understand the topic I just explained, and I will touch about in this video where I explain storytelling. You know, that would be like a way to like have like an irresistible invitation, like kind of frame it as like a missing puzzle piece that they need to implement, and say, this missing puzzle piece is in the next video. So thanks for watching, and as always, you can access the framework in my free community. I just listed the full framework with the full guide. You can just download it, apply it, and keep using it. And in that community, you will also meet with other solopreneurs building successful YouTube funnels. So you will see people applying the same framework, just like this one, to their own business. And it's like a mastermind where we can all learn together what works best. So see you inside. Please download the framework. Please start using it. And as always, I was Ben, and see you in the next one.